Working can be dangerous, and sometimes we come across situations that take our breath away. Some accidents are frightening, while others unfortunately had serious consequences. There are several moments that draw attention and make us reflect on safety and how silly mistakes can be fatal. And that is exactly what you are going to see here today. So go ahead and drop your like, click the subscribe button below, and let's go! A video circulating on the internet shows one of the most dangerous and careless practices at an excavation site. It all starts with workers trying to position a small concrete slab inside a trench using a mobile crane. Up to that point, nothing unusual, but it quickly becomes clear how much the operation was being carried out with no safety measures at all. While some workers were inside the excavation, one of their coworkers was recklessly throwing sandbags, not caring about who was below. Then another man appears on top of the slab suspended by the crane, an extremely risky act. In addition, several people remained standing right at the edge of the trench, which had no protection whatsoever, completely ignoring the risk of collapse. Another worrying detail was how close the crane's outriggers were to the edge of the excavation. The soil, clearly fragile, could not withstand the pressure. The inevitable happened. Part of the trench gave way, and the workers who were inside ended up buried. This type of accident shows how neglecting basic safety standards can turn a routine activity into a tragedy. Measures such as proper soil retention, use of the correct equipment, and keeping a safe distance from the risk area could have prevented the collapse. A video recorded by security cameras at an industrial company captured a moment that was both impressive and frightening. In the footage, an employee appears walking calmly through the warehouse when, without any warning, one of the machines in the background explodes suddenly. The impact of the explosion was so strong that the man is thrown to the ground, while metal parts and fragments of the structure fly in all directions. The scene gives the impression that something very serious had happened. Anyone watching the video immediately imagines the worst, since situations like that in industrial environments usually result in serious injuries. However, to everyone's surprise, after a few tense seconds, the worker starts to move and, still dazed, manages to stand up on his own. Despite the huge scare and the force of the explosion, he apparently did not suffer major injuries, which can be considered a true miracle given the violence of the accident. Witnesses reported that how quickly he stood up brought immediate relief to the co-workers who were nearby. On August 16, 2012, a serious accident occurred at Bacardi's bottling plant in Jacksonville, Florida, in the United States. It was around 4:30 in the afternoon when a temporary worker, Lawrence D. Davis, only 21 years old, lost his life on his first day of work. In fact, his first professional experience in any job. Davis had been assigned to help clean a machine called a palletizer, responsible for stacking and organizing boxes of rum on pallets. This equipment frequently had problems. Bottles broke, rum leaked, and the conveyor became sticky, causing boxes to bump and fall. To avoid production delays, safety measures such as locking out the machine or using support bars were often ignored. In the internal circuit footage, Davis appears sweeping glass shards under the machine after receiving guidance from colleagues. Shortly after, he returns to the spot while the operator and the supervisor were cleaning other parts of the equipment. Minutes later, the system was turned back on without them realizing that Davis was still under the platform. When the equipment came down with approximately 900 kilos of weight, the young man was trapped. A desperate scream was heard, and the operator tried to raise the platform manually, but without success. Emergency teams arrived quickly, but Davis had already died due to the crushing pressure of the machine. Davis's death became a tragic symbol of the neglect of temporary workers in high-risk industrial environments. In a busy factory, a young worker went through tense moments during what seemed to be a simple task. He was at his daily job when he needed to move a heavy steel plate. However, during the attempt to shift it, the piece lost balance and ended up falling directly onto his leg, pinning him to the floor. The impact was immediate and painful, and the young man began to call for help. Fortunately, his co-workers who were nearby heard his calls and ran to him. With a joint effort, they managed to remove the plate and free him quickly, preventing the situation from turning into something even more serious. Despite the scare, the worker was helped in time. It is always important to remember that in operations involving materials like steel, concrete, or machinery, the right thing is to use appropriate lifting equipment, such as cranes, hoists, or rigging systems designed to support large loads. Rushing or trying to save time should never override safety. A case that occurred at a factory in China drew the world's attention by showing how a small oversight can end in a major tragedy. It all happened when a female worker was standing in front of an excavator in a blind spot of the vehicle. The machine operator, who should have been fully focused on his task, ended up getting distracted by his phone. Without noticing his coworker's presence, he continued with the routine work as usual. Security cameras recorded the moment when the woman was hit by the vehicle and fell into the excavator's bucket. Since the driver noticed nothing, he continued the operation, filling the bucket with a huge amount of sand. Soon after, he rotated the machine and dumped all the material directly into the factory's processor, not imagining that his coworker was already in there. Other employees who were nearby realized what had happened and ran to try to help. The footage shows the rush and desperate attempt to provide aid, but unfortunately it was already too late. The local government confirmed the incident and opened an investigation to determine the circumstances and possible responsibilities. This case serves as a very serious warning. In industrial environments, attention must be total, especially when dealing with heavy machinery. A moment of distraction, such as using a phone while working, can turn a routine activity into an irreversible tragedy. At 16 years old, a young man landed his first job in an industrial environment, even though he was very young for that kind of role. The routine was exhausting, with long shifts and constant pressure to meet production targets. Wanting to impress his coworkers and show he was capable, he never refused any task, no matter how risky. On one of those days, without proper preparation, he tried to operate a forklift in a prohibited manner. He knew he should not set the vehicle in motion without being inside it, but he had already seen others do it and believed he could manage it too. When he engaged reverse gear from outside the cab, the machine began to move by itself. Desperate, he ran around the vehicle trying to regain control, but he did not notice a small puddle of oil on the floor. In seconds, the young man slipped and fell into the forklift's path. With no time to get up, he rolled backward and saw his life flash before his eyes. The machine ran over him. He felt intense pain and was certain he would never walk again. The accident could have left him paralyzed or even cost him his life. Later, he reflected that everything could have been avoided with proper training and respect for safety rules. This case once again reinforces the importance of knowing your rights, demanding safe conditions, and not accepting practices that put workers at risk. In June 2022, an impressive fire hit an aluminum warehouse in Spain, quickly turning the place into a true portal to hell, as some onlookers described. Security footage shows the frightening speed at which the fire spread, consuming much of the roof and hurling burning debris across the space in a matter of seconds. The video went viral, racking up thousands of views. In the images, two workers appear reacting immediately to the fire, managing to escape before the situation became completely uninhabitable. The speed with which the flames spread made the moment extremely dangerous, and the warehouse roof collapsed shortly after they left. Fortunately, no one was injured, and the workers' quick reaction was crucial to avoid a tragedy. Many commented on the workers' luck and highlighted how important it is to prioritize personal safety in fire situations without trying to retrieve personal belongings. According to specialists, in cases like this, every second counts, and trying to go back into the building to fetch objects can be fatal. Despite the video being frightening and the flames consuming everything in seconds, the workers' safe exit was almost miraculous, showing how attention and speed can make the difference in situations of extreme risk. A dangerous incident happened when a man was handling an angle grinder incorrectly. He was holding the tool crooked and without a firm grip, disregarding basic safety measures. At one point, the grinder slipped from his hands and headed toward his belly, creating a serious risk of severe injury. Luckily, he managed to react in time and throw the tool away, avoiding the worst. Despite surviving, the episode was a real warning about recklessness when handling power tools. Industrial safety experts highlight that the correct use of tools like the angle grinder requires proper posture, a firm grip, personal protective equipment, and full attention to the task. A slip or positioning error can result in serious accidents, such as deep cuts or internal injuries. A bizarre and frightening incident happened in Poland in December 2012, and it was recorded by a camera and circulated around the world. In the footage, a man is seen transporting a large refrigerator in a hurry, apparently without properly aligning the truck's hydraulic lift with the bed. When trying to load the appliance, he fell backward and ends up being crushed by the weight of the refrigerator, which compresses him. The security camera shows moments of great tension, with the man waiting for 17 seconds before getting help. Fortunately, the man apparently escaped without serious injuries, which is considered a real stroke of luck given the potential for severe harm in situations like this. This story showed in practice the importance of using proper equipment and correct techniques when moving heavy objects. Not aligning hydraulic platforms, rushing, or trying to carry bulky items alone can result in serious accidents. The video quickly gained attention on social networks, being shared by internet users around the world due to the combination of danger and unexpected luck. Many commented on the man's recklessness, while others stressed the importance of always prioritizing safety in any activity involving weight or machines. It is good to remember that even seemingly simple tasks like moving appliances require care, attention, and when possible, extra help to avoid serious consequences. A tragic accident drew attention in Davie, Florida, in the United States, when a worker performing landscaping services lost his life unexpectedly. He and two co-workers were in charge of clearing branches and shrubs on a property when, unfortunately, he ended up falling into an industrial wood chipper. According to reports, everything happened very quickly, leaving his co-workers in shock. One of the workers ran immediately to try to help, but there was nothing that could be done. Shortly after, the police arrived at the scene, cordoned off the area, and began investigation procedures. Authorities reported that there are no signs of a crime or suspicious action, treating it as an accident during professional activity. Even so, the case remains under analysis to understand exactly how the worker lost his balance and fell into the equipment. Residents in the area who witnessed part of the response reported sadness and grief over what happened. An impressive incident occurred when a man was working near a concrete mixer in operation, mixing cement on a construction site. Suddenly, the ground around it gave way unexpectedly, swallowing the worker and the mixer itself. The collapse caused the vehicle to become stuck in the crater that formed, creating a high-risk situation. Fortunately, despite the scare and the apparent severity of the incident, the worker managed to escape without serious injuries. Working near heavy machines requires not only attention to operating the equipment, but also care with the ground, ensuring that the area is safe to support the weight of vehicles and workers, because in a matter of seconds, everything can change. In June 2019, a tragic accident on the Red Line of the Chicago subway in Chicago, Illinois, in the United States resulted in the death of Felon Smith, a 37-year-old woman who fell onto the tracks while trying to retrieve her cell phone. The incident occurred when the train operator diverted his attention from the path for about 12 seconds before the collision. Taine shows the operator looking out the window, gesturing with his hands, and interacting with nearby cars, while his controls remained unattended. The driver's distraction coincided exactly with the moment when Felon was on the tracks, making the accident inevitable. After a detailed investigation by the government agency that operates Chicago's public transit system, which included interviews with employees and witnesses, analysis of videos, and equipment checks, it was concluded that the operator violated safety guidelines, including full attention and safe train operation. As a result, he was fired. The video reveals moments of carelessness and lack of attention that shocked the victim's family, especially her sister, Brandy Martin. The victim's sister highlighted how hard it is to understand why there were not enough staff or security guards to prevent Felon from accessing the tracks, but according to the agency, there was a guard at the time warning that she could not be there, although they are not sure if Felon could hear. Another point raised by the agency is that it is not possible to know whether the collision could have been avoided, even if the driver had been attentive. Something that also upset the family is that the images show the driver laughing and having fun seconds before the accident. The tragedy changed her family's life, and Martin intends to file a lawsuit against the government agency. Thus, we see the importance of constant attention and strict safety protocols in public transportation, because seconds of distraction can have irreversible consequences. The work of handling anchors at sea is extremely risky. Operating large vessels or platforms, often in ports, shipyards, or maritime construction sites, involves releasing and positioning heavy anchors on the seabed or riverbed. Although it may seem routine for experienced professionals, the process is highly dangerous. The anchors and chains used can weigh several tons, and any carelessness can result in serious accidents. The combination of heavy loads, lifting equipment, and the water's unpredictable forces makes the operation critical. critical, requiring full attention, specialized training, and constant use of protective equipment. Accidents involving the dropping or handling of anchors have happened and can have devastating consequences. Reported cases include workers struck by anchors that unexpectedly came loose, equipment falling onto crew members, and even partial sinkings when the anchor sets incorrectly, causing instability in vessels. Even small communication failures among the team can turn a routine operation into a serious incident. That is why anchor operators undergo rigorous training and extremely detailed safety protocols. Clear signals, crew coordination, and proper maintenance of cables, chains, and winches are crucial. Despite all the preparation, this function remains one of the most dangerous tasks in maritime work, and even with lots of experience, prudence should never be set aside. In a factory, a worker was handling heavy steel coils with the help of a crane. During the operation, one of the coils ended up coming loose unexpectedly and fell onto the employee's legs. The impact could have caused serious injuries, but fortunately the situation was contained in time. Co-workers acted quickly, running to the spot and helping to lift the coil, allowing the worker to escape without serious injuries. Hence the importance of training the entire team to act quickly in case of accidents and always keeping communication and attention during operations with heavy materials. In the end, despite the scare, the worker got away, but small oversights can cause accidents that could easily be prevented with proper care and correct use of equipment. Two employees were moving a heavy object in a factory using a forklift crane. One of the workers operated the crane, while the other assisted manually, adjusting and guiding the object with his hands. The equipment was resting on a wheeled support that would help with movement, but due to oversight, the little wheels had not been locked. During the procedure, the object began to move unexpectedly. The worker operating the crane lost part of the control, and for a few moments, the object seemed about to fall for good, creating an obvious risk situation. Fortunately, the weight ended up settling on the support itself, staying stable, and none of the employees were injured. Luckily, everything ended well, but episodes like this show that accidents often happen precisely because of seemingly silly details that could be easily avoided with attention and correct safety procedures. Do not forget to subscribe to watch more videos like this.